reacting to the constantly.
By killing them, you become a hero in the Muslim world.
DJs is missing. Are you listening? Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly? Around the dial.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Plutocracy Report on PRN. I'm Vince Marcanti, and to start the show, I'd like to thank Joni from Canada for writing to me, and also Laura from New York. This show is dedicated to you ladies, because you're the motivation for me to do the show this week, and I hope you like it. I can always be reached at the plutocracyreport@gmail.com. Well, it's been a tough week for me. I feel great sorrow in my heart. I can't escape it, and I wonder if any others out there feel it too. I see videos and I hear about burning forests, and I feel in my heart the suffering and dying and trauma of the wildlife. And of course the indigenous humans who live there in the rainforest, who contribute nothing to the devastation of nature and have been all but wiped from the earth. The few survivors, such as Native Americans, are forced to contract or at least put up with the sickness that plagues mankind, which is the separation and loss of concern for the natural world. The greed plague brought by the European conquerors, the king worshippers who contracted the evil plague. People who will do anything for their rulers and never question inhumane orders. I feel the battle has commenced, and I wish to be a warrior, but I have no course of action, only to cherish and try to positively affect nature in my own backyard. I mean, what else can I do? Please tell me, because I'm hurting inside. I don't have the power to change things, only the people united do. And I found depending on others in this culture is a losing, heartbreaking battle. I've defined the battle as two groups of humans, the people who care, and people who don't give a shit about anything but their own well-being. The problem is not that the people who care are a minority. The problem is they feel hopeless, most of them. The Plutonomy economy can no longer be stopped. We must feel like it must run its course because we can never unite to end it. They broke us down into separate belief systems, all of which suppress creative progressive theory outside of the left and right dichotomy of division. And this is no hypothesis I'm pulling out of my ass. It's clear we are programmed to be willingly compliant, forced in most cases to do as we're told. Most of you were too young to decide if you wanted vaccines and circumcision when you were a newborn. Well, I remember. I tried to tell them not to cut the skin on my mighty wand by crying and screaming so hard I passed out. But they didn't listen. But at least they did a good job because it still looks magnificent. I guess I didn't really need that foreskin after all. But hey, I was only 3 days old. I didn't have time to do research on it. From that day on, we are trained to uphold our culture's values and its failings. The government is run by a wealthy elite group, and they perfected mind manipulation. And it is a self-reinforcing manipulation. We now police each other and keep ourselves in line with the plutocracy. Parents begin the indoctrination until you go to school, where we are turned into listless sheepies. H.L. Mencken said long ago, "The most erroneous assumption is to the effect that the aim of public education is to fill the young of the species with knowledge and awaken their intelligence, and so make them fit to discharge the duties of citizenship in an enlightened and independent manner. Nothing could be further from the truth. The aim of public education is not to spread enlightenment at all. It is simply to reduce as many individuals as possible to the same safe level, to breed and train a substandardized citizenry, to put down dissent and originality. That is its aim in the United States. Whatever the pretensions of politicians, pedagogues, and other such mountebanks, and that is its aim everywhere else. He means in every type of plutocracy around the world. There are people behind this programming, and it's not human nature. J.D. Rockefeller said, "I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers." His class is in charge, not the president. M.A. Rothschild said, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." Well, now you guys control the law as well as every elected official that matters, and the people still approve and accept it. That is perfected mind manipulation, and I thought we could break it since it was so easy for me to do. But on and on it goes. I saw people protesting near the G7 summit, and the reporter asked, "Why?" And the guy basically said, "We want to send a message to the leaders that climate change sucks, so, do something about it." Same thing with Extinction Rebellion and any conforming to plutocracy protest movements. Let's ask the plutocrats to consider not screwing us and the natural world over so bad. Maybe they'll listen. I mean, they have to live on this planet too, right? You freaking morons! We need to throw them out, not ask for their permission. They don't give a damn about the environment. They are sociopaths. Is that not clear by now? Unless a majority of people agree with me and understand overthrow is the only action we can take to save anything, we really are doomed to let plutocracy play out until the bitter end. The Amazon is not burning because of some heartless racist prick named Bolsonaro who was elected president. It's burning because of the horrific economic system we value and uphold above everything else, including our collective well-being and humanity itself. Okay, it's true. This slimy asshole has dedicated himself to destroying the rainforest to provide more space for development, hoping to attract more business. He, like all money-minded people, don't care about ecosystems and the indigenous people of the Amazon. And I heard that emboldened local ranchers are trying to clear out more space for their animals, and they set the fires on purpose. Good Lord. Like Trump emboldens jerks to be bigger jerks here. It's the same over there and everywhere. Clearly conservatives like that are repulsive and cruel. So why do we vote for these soulless rats? Well, I'll tell you why. Because, in Brazil, for instance, the last president before him, resided over a shitty economy. And this guy said his party and policies will improve the economy. People don't care about dire and horrific consequences in the future. They care about money now. Even if they elected another one of their silly parties in Brazil, they would still be trying to boost their economy in the same ways. Just less harsh rhetoric and planet plunder with a velvet glove. Whatever happens, the leaders always have an excuse. And hey, they won the election, so it's really the people's fault. Just vote harder next time. Listen to this. The president of Brazil spoke up during the fervor over the fires in the Amazon, blaming it on NGOs and environmentalists looking to discredit him. As multiple news outlets noted, he did not provide any names or evidence of such conspiracy against him. "I used to be called Captain Chainsaw. Now I am Nero setting the Amazon afire." That's what the scumbag said. Now consider this awful burn is way beyond normal. This is tragic, and I can sense it. And to some people, it's merely good for business, expanding profits in the status quo Plutonomy system. Everything in the economy is unprecedented since we are on an artificial system now. But so is every environmental disaster due to climate change. Fire in the Amazon is different now. I told you last show about how the UV radiation is more intense. Well, although fires have occurred in the Amazon, forever, they have been largely controlled by the natural humidity of the region. Now, however, The drying out of the rainforest threatens to ignite the tree-filled habitat, which is very rich biodiversity, and convert it almost overnight into barren desert. For the first time, scientists have shown in experiments on the ground how extreme dry weather combined with the effects of human activities can create a tinderbox environment where intensely damaging forest fires can spread easily, killing trees that have taken hundreds of years to grow. Just imagine the Amazon going from a net absorber of carbon dioxide to a net producer at a time when we have about 500 parts per million CO2 in the atmosphere. What do you think about that? 350.org, you useless sellouts, afraid to tell the truth and promote revolution? Just get your donations, that's all that matters. We need to overthrow the power elites and start a new economy based upon doing the right things for all people in the environment, not based on exploitation. We need a completely new form of central planning and a new currency value system. Yeah, I know it's hard to imagine at first, but it must be done. Stop with the hopium for plutocrats to change their evil ways and the controlled opposition. Devastation and consequence is playing out before our eyes. We are about to undergo a dramatic change that nobody wants, and it will be humanity's last chance to end this system that was always unfair, cruel, and stupid, and has brought us to possible near-term omnicide. You know, what are we going to do? Cut down trees to make paper and make signs out of it that say, "Save the trees"? Please help save the planet, you plutocrats. You're the only ones who can do it because you are our leaders, and we could never govern ourselves. We're just dumb poor people. Only the rich are smart enough to lead us, right? I'm so sick of it. People think change can only come from within this failed plutocracy system. We need to support Tulsi Gabbard. She's our only hope. Or maybe Bernie. Or we'll listen to Professor Wolf. We just need to go all-out communism because all our problems are from capitalism. Shut up, nerd. You really think what we have here is capitalism and the only cure is communism? Just shut up and go away. We don't need to continue to argue over failed ideologies. We need a new one and new pathways of thinking about central planning for the benefit of all and a new economy of rationality. The second some old fart talks about communism or capitalism, tell him to shut the F up. We're beyond that. It's nothing but a detention center for the mind. The dichotomy was created to perpetuate plutocracy. Time for something new. Outside of the mind compound, the eggheads we listen to are trapped in and want us to remain trapped in. Quit clinging to communism. It's just a label to divide us. Karl Marx was a German philosopher, an economist, a historian, a sociologist, and a political theorist. All those things are useless. We don't need politics of old arguing about how to better manage a dysfunctional system. Listen, forget about Marxism. We don't need endless political arguments. We need rational management through communal decision-making, using all available data to arrive at the best decisions for all, and using technology as a gift for humanity, not a freaking business venture. Look, I'm not talking about pure anarchy with no government whatsoever. We do need central planning and management to have a functioning society. But that doesn't make us commies. It makes us rational. And the government doesn't have to be tyrants and plutocrats. It can be us, the people voting on unbiased proposals. I don't want to see a bill passed to cut carbon emissions in half by 2030. I want a whole new friendly culture and economy. No one can say this one is just fine, unless you're a delusional Ayn Rand, Milton Friedman type of thinker, or a plutocrat who thinks plutocracy is capitalism like Professor Wolf. There is no too big to fail or quantitative easing in capitalism. We have plunder plutocracy. So let's stop with the false labels and useless debates from old coots. The time of consequence is upon us, and a few outdated commie proposals won't save us. Forget about it. It's a trap. Climate and economic collapse is upon us. You know, Trump said, no recession's coming, as if that means anything. You know, in 5 months he can say, well, there might be a recession, but things are different now. The Democrats are preventing us from making a deal with China, and the Fed should be going to negative interest rates. They waited too long. I told them to go negative months ago, and I'm the chosen one. Can you imagine saying the economy is great, but we need to lower to 0% interest rates? How can anyone make sense of that? Listen to this Trump statement. I don't think we're having a recession. We're doing tremendously well. Our consumers are rich. I gave them a tax cut, and they're loaded up with money. Good grief. This is an insane asylum we live in. And the other side is going to say, Trump's trade war with China is what brought on the recession. You know, has nothing to do with thinking we can have unlimited profits on a finite planet. Can you imagine blaming the inevitable depression that's upcoming on this trade war farce? Distraction? Think of how they expect us to live in a fantasy world. Everything we see in the media, on politics and markets and reporting, it's all a play. Nothing is real. And that is the pinnacle of human advancement. That's what we have achieved as the pinnacle of advancement. They mastered the art of propaganda and the 3 Ds, you know, division, distraction, and delusion. Generations pass without even trying to change a system that's extraordinarily socially and environmentally destructive. The eggheads want us to debate over commies and capitalists, because that's all they know. And they have become part of the mind control, willingly or not. It's not just the righty crap out there that's so infantile and stupid. The lefties are incredibly dumb, too. I mean, check this out. This is a title from a Tom Hartman segment that was on YouTube where he was talking to another useless egghead. It was called, Why an Extinction Event Can Save the Human Race. You freaking morons don't even know what extinction means. I guess all we can do is hope Bernie Sanders can become president, right, lefty eggheads? Damn, they make me sick, you know? Let's be reasonable. A revolution to change everyone in government would be just terrible. We just need a commie in the White House. Listen to this regressive crap from people you may admire for their lack of forward thinking. Abby Martin sits down with renowned Marxist economist Richard Wolff to discuss the growing popularity of socialism under Trump and its historical roots in America, misconceptions about Russia and China's economic success, and Marx's theory of alienation and monopoly capitalism. Oh, I gotta hear this. Yeah, because we need to be more like Russia and China, right? Because they're more commie, you think? And we will never use the correct word for the U.S. system. It's a Plutonomy economy. It's not capitalism. Just go away, you regressive old commie fool. Let the people envision a better way to govern ourselves. God, I'm so sick of this useless crap. You know who else pisses me off? The doomers, you know, that get mad at people who won't admit there's nothing we can do to save our habitat. You know, just put your head up your ass and wait to die. And only spread the message of giving up, right? You know, 'cause nature bats last. Now people are attacking Greta Thunberg because she won't admit that it's too late for us to avoid early extinction. Damn that girl for having hope and wanting to fight for something. She must be paid by the plutocrats for not giving up like our defeatist asses and spreading the righteous message of, we all gonna die soon. That's their message. It doesn't matter what we do. Just live in the moment like Eckhart Tolle, because we all gonna die soon. Good Lord. Grow up, people. Of course, Greta is going to be used by the neoliberal side. But god darn it, she is a warrior and a wonderful young woman. So back the F off, or I will defend her by kicking your gloomy asses. Sorry, I got some anger today, as you may have noticed. I'm fed up with useless defeatists and commie lovers. Listen, doomers, yeah, probably we are going to make an early exit. because we won't end the Plutonomy economy in time to save our habitat. But listen closely. It's never too late to try and do the right thing, even if it's the last day of our lives. If we don't make a stand against a sociopathic power elite and end the reign of terror, we will truly die in shame. If we do our duty, we can at least be proud that we finally did something right before we go extinct. Never insult people who are taking action in making the world a better place, and never insult people protesting in other countries, like lefties are doing to Hong Kong. Listen, the right wing of the dichotomy is pathetic and cruel and will never have a majority of people subscribing to their method of pretending inequality is good for humanity. And this sick system of plutocracy is great. Only people with greed, hate, and fear in their hearts identify with the righty sheep herd. The only reason Republicans win elections is because Democrats are so dishonest, disgusting, and deceitful. People who vote for the other side just to spite them, I don't blame them. But to vote for either side is a crime against humanity. Come on, it's obvious by now. It is giving your consent to all the horrendous things our government does, no matter what political puppet is elected. So I don't make fun of the righty sheepies as much. It's too easy, and anyone with a heart knows that side is awful and must be disregarded. So I attack lefty sheepies because they are the biggest obstacle to real, progressive, and intelligent change that we need now. People have to realize the political divide is all a scam and start thinking for themselves. And then they would never subscribe or participate to the two-party system of deception because they will know it's a plutocracy we live in. Therefore, they will know the action we must take. Overthrow them all. Change the goddarn system. You can't do it from within, people. You know, lefties can listen to mainstream CNN crap, or fringies can listen to Marxist mimics, or get excited over the latest lefty candidate like Tulsi Gabbard and pretend that means we have a democracy. And righties can listen to Fox News or Trump, even though he makes no sense. And fringies got their Alex Jones or hey, freaking God or Satan to obey. And they pretend we have a republic. It's all a delusion. But most people just feel like they have to identify with one of the two sides. And don't like someone who berates both sides, like me, and advocates for a new system outside of the dichotomy of delusion. Well, certain cheapies piss me off the most because they think they know this government is an oligarchy, so they think they know it all and they stop looking for the truth. Now they fall for every anti-U.S. government propaganda. Yes, I said that right. It's out there. And some have been smearing the Hong Kong protesters, and I've had enough. Just because they had some signs written in English asking Trump for help, they think the protest is all pro-capitalist, Trump-loving idiots. You have to think for yourself. There is nothing but biased perspectives and agendas out there. Imagine demonizing people protesting for democracy. Yes, that's happening, and it's all planned. Every protest has anti-protest propaganda attached to it by the plutocrat media and the self-policing sheepies, including commie-loving assholes. You know, they all love China. They have no idea what's going on there, but they all love it because they think it's the only success story of communism, and they have identified their entire belief system on lefty theories, and they defend it and can't envision a better system. So they ignore all the horrific things involved in China. All their assumptions are based on their biases, and it's deeper than right-wing bias, I'm beginning to realize. Listen to the title of this video from loony lefty Tom Hartman once again. I don't know why I'm picking on him so much, but he deserves it. Listen to this title. China is the new American dream. Oh, God. Yeah, sure it is, Tom. We always dreamed of a draconian social credit rating system and being extensively monitored, and no one can speak out against the government or they'll be punished.
Oh, shut up, Vince. Their middle class is so big now, and they're ending poverty.
Yeah, okay. Let's forget about all the work slaves that lived and died in misery. Oh, and that growing middle class is very sustainable, right? No way their economy is going to crash, right, Tom? Who thinks America's economy is going to crash? He wrote a book called The Economic Collapse of 2016 or something. But not China, because they're all commies, and there's no way their economy can collapse. Yeah, okay. You think they're outside of the Plutonomy economy? So these lefties think Hong Kong protests, which are against their beyond Orwellian Big Brother China, it must be a CIA capitalist movement, you know? Yeah, the dirty rats in America will do what they can to take advantage of it. Of course they will. But the people want a better system of governance, and that's what it's about. Listen to this. China's largest state-run news agency, Xinhua News, is buying ads on Facebook and Twitter to smear protesters in Hong Kong, a new tactic being used to influence how the rest of the world perceives the pro-democracy demonstrators. No, nothing's new. It's been going on for decades. Protests are the biggest threat to the structure, the control structure of any country. So, of course, they're going to demonize it and try to get people to think it's bad. Now, there are biased, commie-loving people saying the CIA set up this protest, which has been going on a long time now, you know, because they must not have any reason to protest on their own, because Big Brother China is so awesome and benevolent and commie through and through. So why would they protest? I just don't get it. Listen to part of this article, which was sent to me by my friend Jean Bales in Michigan. She and her son are Pluto heads. So thanks for listening, my friends. Anyways, the article is not something I really liked, but it said a few things that were true. So listen. Hong Kong is one of the most extreme examples of big finance, neoliberal capitalism in the world. As a result, many people in Hong Kong are suffering from great economic insecurity in a city with 93 billionaires, second most of any city. Oh, it doesn't say what the first city is, but I don't know. New York? I don't know. It goes on. Hong Kong is suffering the effects of being colonized by Britain for more than 150 years following the Opium Wars. The British put in place a capitalist economic system, and Hong Kong has had no history of self-rule. Yeah, who has? When Britain left, it negotiated an agreement that prevents China from changing Hong Kong's political and economic system for 50 years by making Hong Kong a special administrative region. It's a plutocrat paradise. That's my words. I just used the same voice. Hong Kong is a center for big finance and also a center of financial crimes. Between 2013 and 2017, the number of suspicious transactions reported to law enforcement agencies rocketed from 33,000 to 92,000. In 1990, Milton Friedman described Hong Kong as the best example of a free market economy. Woo-wee, it was so good. Its ranking is based on low taxes, light regulations, strong property rights, business freedom, and openings to global commerce. Graham Maxton writes in South China Morning Post, "The only way to restore order is through a radical change in Hong Kong's economic policies. After decades of doing almost nothing and letting the free market rule, it's time for the Hong Kong government to do what it is there for, to govern in the interests of the majority. No, it's time for the government to jump off a cliff and let a new system be created by the people, not the vulture plutocrats." All right, so lefty sheepies who love China can't understand why Hong Kong people are protesting because they should just embrace China with open arms. And they have no reason to be out in the streets, right? Well, listen to this. For the last 10 years, wages have been stagnant in Hong Kong while rents have increased 300%. It is the most expensive city in the world. Hong Kong has the world's highest rents, a widening wealth gap, and a poverty rate of 20. Yeah, I'm sure it's more than that. The people who write this article are commie lovers too and pretend China is a socialist utopia that ended poverty, but China is a totalitarian system on the brink of collapse. There are thousands of documented demonstrations and strikes and labor actions in China annually, and serious environmental challenges, and inequality and social control through the use of surveillance technology. Isn't that nice, you commie lovers? It's such a utopia there. Freaking idiots. Every country should be united in revolution to change our economic system of environmental plunder and devastation and human exploitation. We all share that method of monetary exchange. Again, lefties are in love with China, and this article is by Lefty sheepies, so they wrote, "The Communist Party knows that to keep its hold on power, it must combat inequalities and shift the economy towards a more efficient and more ecological model. Beijing has set a date." Oh my goodness. Okay, listen to this closely. This is great. This must be why I'm sorry. This must be why they love them so much in China. Listen to what they did. These wonderful leaders. Beijing has set a date of 2050 to become a socialist society. And to achieve that, it seeks to improve in social, labor, and environmental fields. Oh, okay. Oh my God, don't you just love that Chinese big brother? They're kind and benevolent as they seek to grind up the natural world in other countries for their 1.4 billion sheepies who just love their servitude and the surveillance. Yeah, I can't wait to see that socialist society in 2050, right? You know, there'll be a few tattered, starving China sheepies sharing the last of the canned food with each other. Oh, nice. It will all be in Big Brother China in 2050. Well, at least they'll share their canned food that remains. You know, here we'll have so many guns shooting each other to steal each other's canned goods. Oh, God, that's not even funny. Ugh. Well, listen, every protest, I admit, and it's clear, it will be infiltrated and disgraced. So why not support people who want a better life in government? Stop making opinions based on BS ideology of the left and right. Support people standing up against their government in all forms. Listen, the lefties are really stupid. They would go along with a totalitarian regime and agree to be monitored at all times as long as the government pretends to be all commie. These lefties who think they're smart because they know they call it an oligarchy here in the U.S., and knowing that, which is so blatantly obvious to begin with, they think they know everything, and they just think if we just make every country a communist hellhole, everything will be great. So these people are really against the people of Hong Kong, protesting, and that makes me sick. I read this article. It was entitled, "The U.S. is trying to turn Hong Kong into a corporatized state," by Rainer Shia. No, idiot. It's been a corporatized state for a long time now. I don't know if Rainer is male or female, but the person is a commie and said the protesters are using, listen to this, they're using gene-sharp tactics to get the police to beat them up. You know, hence to get pity and support from people around the world, I guess. I don't know what these idiots are getting at, but that was this person's proof to everyone protesting is just working for the CIA, who paid them all to protest. Gene-sharp tactics to get beat up, huh, Rainer? It's like saying the Palestinians provoked the Israelis to kill them because Hamas wants the pity. Here is the comment I wrote to the author because the article was so stupid and pissed me off and is going right along the lines of this lefty BS, smearing people, protesting. I wrote, why don't you try writing without blatant bias that reduces you to a mindless sheepie? Yeah, poor people have no reason to protest, right? Life is great for them, and Big Brother China is so benevolent, and you lefties just admire that beyond Orwellian commie structure, huh? Hence the protesters must be bad. Hey, look, they're using Gene Sharp tactics. You noticed that, huh? It must be a CIA-backed protest. F you. Try living there as a non-wealthy person. Stop discrediting people who fight for a better governing system and want to improve their lives. Just because the U.S. is an evil plutocracy conducting covert, nefarious actions around the world does not mean people who are brave enough to protest are working for the CIA. Support all people's protests for a better world, you commie asshole. Don't be brainwashed by lefties or the righties. It's a goddamn trap. Think for yourself. We are more advanced than that. We are rational, and we won't be labeled anymore. We want something from the ground up, something new, something egalitarian and rational. Forget commie and conservative idiocracy. Keep fighting against the system, you Hong Kong youngsters. Don't give up. Whether you notice it or not, this is it. The final battle is upon us. The great collapse of plutocracy is closing in on us in every country, and the leaders will offer their solutions to keep control, and we have to reject them and change our ways. I talk about this stuff so we know what we're up against. People who are brainwashed, unconcerned, and ignorant to reality. Remember, that is not an unchangeable condition. Ignorance is not irreparable. We can collectively wake up and do something good. It's not beyond human ability. We can give up our commie and capitalist biases and be rational. Now, some of you may not believe me, but I'll tell you what. You're going to find out I'm right, one way or the other. But I guess you just can't take my word for it, huh? So that leaves you with only one way to find out the truth. You know what that is, right? You're going to find out the hard way.
You never listen to what I say. And if you think you hear the mess around, you're making a big mistake. Cause you're gonna find out the hard way. You're gonna find out the hard way. No matter what I do or say, you're much too dumb to educate. One day life's gonna turn around and slap you in the
All right.
That was the Kinks, one of the best bands ever, from the album Schoolboys in Disgrace. That was from 1975. I've been jamming that song lately on the bass with me friends, and it's a fun one to play and a great tune. I've not been playing the drums that much anymore. The last time was when we recorded that last original song I played for you a few months ago. You know, it was called A Perfect Place to Die. I'm going to get all the originals on YouTube one day, you know, for all three of me fans out there to listen to anytime. Well, a lot of people are going to find out things the hard way. It has been the greatest achievement of the ruling class to keep the masses dumb, divided, and delusional. Just in case some of you haven't noticed, the internet search engines like Google have been completely censored of any independent and not-for-profit news sites that don't toe the left or right side of the plutocratic narrative. You know, I wanted to get more information about the Hong Kong protests, and I did a Google search, and it was page after page of CNN, NBC, CBS, Fox News, VOA, just the big corporate media mind manipulators. None of the sites we trust will come up in a search, not even RT anymore. It doesn't mean they're wiped off the internet, but they won't come up in a search topic ever again. So the only place I get other reports is Facebook, because I liked independent media sites and they come up on my feed, and I have cool friends who post good articles. Yeah, I know most people don't read the stuff I do. They're just on Facebook looking at vacation and food pics and selfies and kittens. But Facebook can still be a good place for spreading truth, and something can catch on there. I'm telling you, it's our last bastion of hope for organizing massive civil disobedience with goals. Because our real problem is civil obedience. People all over the world have obeyed the dictates of leaders. Millions have been killed because of this obedience. Our problem is that people are obedient all over the world in the face of poverty, starvation, stupidity, war, and cruelty. Our problem is that people are obediently filling jails with petty thieves while grand thieves are running the country. I know that sounds like something I just came up with, but that was actually a quote from Howard Zinn, a man who I admired. And that I came upon that because my friend Natalia posted that on Facebook. She's living in Mexico and a mastermind in sustainability concepts and a good friend. So Facebook is not all bad because it's a meeting place and a way to exchange ideas and information, even though massive censorship and suppression is going on. It can also be used to spread bullcrap, and it's mostly misused, but we have to have it if we're going to create a massive people's movement, and we can't allow it to be totally censored because they're working on that. But we probably will allow it to happen right before our eyes. You know why?
Because we're so freaking stupid.
I'm not kidding. The stupidity of the masses is by design, not just through the thought-suppressing institutional education and mass media systems that people believe. It's also through a barrage of toxic chemicals and compounds, whether it's the mercury in vaccines or the fluoride in our water, dozens of pesticides applied to our food. Even the polluted air we breathe affects our brain function. The toxicity of these chemicals and compounds is well documented, yet nothing is ever done to reduce the presence of harmful compounds in our environment. In fact, this idiot as president is expanding upon them all and greenlighting them. New ones. Why else would the government willingly pollute the environment, public water supplies, and more? They need us dumb. Toxicity has become a part of daily life for many people. How come we don't demand not to be poisoned? Because we're too dumb. We're too dumb to care. And if you want shocking proof, some people are so dumb they still have faith in their government beholden to plutocrats. The proof is everywhere. Here is something from an article I was reading from Humans Are Free. I like that outlet. it was titled Dr. Russell Blaylock. The masses are becoming cognitively retarded and incapable of rational thought. Becoming? I think we've reached that point, Dr. Blaylock. If you remember, a long time ago, I played a soundbite from him, and he was right on about this stuff. But it goes on. A study by NASA scientists recently confirmed that many people are born creative geniuses like Vince Marcanti. But their intelligence is ultimately hampered by the U.S. educational system. Perhaps calling it the re-education system would be more appropriate. Yes, I think so. The end goal of the government is not to have a free and intelligent society. The globalists would rather turn us into a sea of malleable drones that do as they're told. Well, guys, listen, they already did it. Let's not pretend it's something they're still working on. They achieved turning the majority into clueless, apathetic sheepies, and they already took the entire world over. You know, enough with this.
They're trying to take control and dumb us down. Or the New World Order's trying to take over the world. They already did! Good Lord!
Oh, we didn't even challenge them. How else would people put up with our government and our propaganda and distraction news corporations and our military foreign policies and the corporatizing of everything that should be publicly run, including prisons and health care? Nothing is done in the most intelligent way to serve the people best. Every governmental program is corrupt and everything is a lie. So why don't we do something about it? Well, I'll give you a hint. Dum.
We too stupid.
The sheepies who don't care have no motivation. And the people who protest just want to ask the rulers, you know, if we could try to slow down global warming in the next 10 years. Or could you try to be a little nicer to us in your economic policies? I'd really much like that. They have us by the gonads, and nothing is going to change until the sheepies' lives become more uncomfortable, and believe me, that's coming. Listen to me read some headlines, and consider how stupid we all are to abide with this insane form of governance. Democratic National Committee delegates in San Francisco voted against allowing candidates to participate in a primary debate focused on climate change in a contentious 222 to 137 vote that comes amid ongoing devastation in the Amazon rainforest and growing evidence everywhere that scientists have underestimated the pace at which the world is warming. Okay, well, let me interject here. I got this one all worked out. The reason for voting against a debate pertaining to the most dire issue in human history is for one simple reason: to avoid further embarrassment. I mean, imagine how infantile and unrealistic the scripted so-called debates would be anyways. These are dumb people who live in a bubble devoid of reality. They are actors and con people. The less they reveal about their own limited awareness, the more sheepies can pretend they have a freaking clue about anything. You think Booty Judge knows much about the freaking climate catastrophe coming? They are really stupid people, these Democrats. Democrats. That's a new one. I call them Dummycrats, but Dummocrats is okay too, I guess. The less they say, the more likely the sheepies won't realize how stupid they really are. All right. I wasn't sure I was going to play this movie clip for you because it's from a Disney movie, which I don't like Disney, all right? And George Clooney is in it, who I really don't like, that turd with ears. But check this out. It has points that are really true, and it really points out how dumb we are. And I'm deciding to play it now because it really pertains to what I'm talking about now. So check it out.
Let's imagine. If you glimpsed the future and were frightened by what you saw, what would you do with that information? You would go to who? Politicians? Captains of industry? And how would you convince them? With data? Facts? Good luck. The only facts they won't challenge are the ones that keep the wheels greased and the dollars rolling in. The probability of widespread annihilation kept going up. The only way to stop it was to show it. To scare people straight. Because what reasonable human being wouldn't be galvanized by the potential destruction of everything they've ever known or loved? To save civilization, I would show its collapse. But how do you think this vision was received? How do you think people responded to the prospect of imminent doom? They gobbled it up like a chocolate eclair. They didn't fear their demise, they repackaged it. It can be enjoyed as video games, as TV shows, books, movies. The entire world wholeheartedly embraced the apocalypse and sprinted towards it with gleeful abandon. Meanwhile, your Earth was crumbling all around you. You've got simultaneous epidemics of obesity and starvation. Explain that one. Bees and butterflies start to disappear. The glaciers melt. Algae blooms all around you. The coal mine canaries are dropping dead, and you won't take the hint. In every moment, there is the possibility of a better future, but you people won't believe it. And because you won't believe it, you won't do what is necessary to make it a reality. So you dwell on this terrible future, you resign yourselves to it. For one reason, because that future doesn't ask anything of you today. So, yes, we saw the iceberg, we warned the Titanic. But you all just steered for it anyway, full steam ahead. Why? Because you want to sink. You gave up.
I think that's from a movie called Tomorrowland, but I never saw it, and I'm sure I won't see it. But that was great. I mean, the guy made the point that I've been making a long time. We can't change anything because we don't believe we can do it. People have simply given up on everything. And I mean, when I talk to people in person about things I'm saying on this show, they're like, "You're crazy, dude. We can't do anything about anything. They're in charge and nothing else can change. We can never unite. We all hate each other." Yeah. Okay. Full speed ahead, Captain. Right into the frickin' iceberg. People, we are dumb all over. So in a society of stupid people that are used to take on debt and pay interest to the almighty banking plutocrats and taxes to their government to bail them out, they need to operate under a police state. We now live in a police state plutocracy. Some people don't even notice, they just go about their lives, struggling to get by, working their lives away, hoping that they can pay off their bills. Well, here's what the U.S. government says about the student loan you may have been tardy about paying back. If your loan is placed with a collection agency, you will be responsible for costs incurred to get payment. The holder of your loan can take other actions to collect as well. Those other actions involve withholding your tax refund or, in some cases, garnishing your wages. And this week in Texas, well, this was actually a couple years ago, they began to involve federal agents in combat gear bursting into debtors' homes and arresting them. That's what happened to Paul Aker. 7 armed U.S. Marshals arrived at his door in Houston last Thursday, arrested him on the spot, and took him to jail. He owed all of $1,500, outstanding since 1987. Aker told Fox 26 that without any warning, his 29-year-old debt was forcibly being collected. The Marshals took him to federal court and made him sign a payment plan. "Man, it was totally mind-boggling," Aker told Fox 26. Dude, don't pay it. Let's have every student stop paying their debt all at once. That's a real form of protest. Same thing with tax boycott. That will get their attention, believe me. Or workers' strike. But the tax boycott will really get to Democrats. I mean, they live for tax money. They think wasting tax money is what life is all about and what they were born for. Oh boy, I just noticed I'm at the end of the show. Darn it, I kind of wanted to go on and on and on for another hour. Well, listen, it's been a tough, sad week, and things are getting tough and heartbreaking out there in the world. So I'm glad to talk to all of you, and even if you don't agree with me yet, that's okay. Just keep listening, and soon you will. Well, I really appreciate you wonderful few people who write to me to tell me to keep ranting, and that's why I'm still here. I love you all, and let's fight on together. Well, I'm out of here for now. I gotta get away from the sheepies in the city, and I'm gonna go live in the jungle for a while. You know why? Because you know what I really am, right? Well, I'm an ape man, I'm an ape man, yes, I'm an ape man. So until next time, bye-bye.
I think I'm sophisticated cause I'm living my life like a good homo sapien. But all around me everybody's multiplying and they're walking around like flies, man. So I'm no better than the animals sitting in their cages in the zoo, man. Cause compared to the flowers and the birds and the trees, I am an ape man. I think I'm so educated and I'm so civilized cause I'm a strict vegetarian. But with the overpopulation and inflation and starvation and the crazy politicians, I don't feel safe in this world no more. I don't wanna die in a nuclear war. I wanna sail away to a distant shore and make like an ape man. I'm an ape man, I'm an ape man, no I'm an ape man. I'm a King Kong man, I'm a voodoo man, no I'm an ape man. Cause compared to the sun that sits in the sky, compared to the clouds that say roll by, compared to the bugs and the spiders and flies, I am an ape man. La 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 la. In man's evolution, he's created the city and the motor traffic rumble. But give me half a chance and I'll be taking off my clothes and living in the jungle.